lungs are not used to it. That's why we're coughing. The weather here is very cold and dry. There's a large population here, approximately 300,000 inhabitants.
YAKUTSK is the capital of Sakha Republic, an autonomous region that is allied with Russia, 280 miles away from the North Pole. Since this place is the most northeastern point of Siberia, it is very much isolated from the rest of the world.
Outside temperature is around negative 58 degrees Fahrenheit. The boiling water is about 212 degrees Fahrenheit. As you see, it instantly turns into ice crystal.
The lowest air temperature ever measured in this region is negative 96.16 degrees Fahrenheit. It is as if it belongs to another planet. A banana left outside can turn into a hammer in minutes.
People cannot wear metal frame glasses here because the metal could stick to their skin. And if they wanted to take off their glasses, their flesh might be chewed out. This is a piece of meat that looks very much like human flesh. Let's just put it in contact with metal. As you can see, these are natural gas pipes, and they have to be laid above the ground because the underground is frozen with ice. There is actually a 100-foot thick mass of ice under the city. Look, this river is completely frozen. During the Soviet era, people who contradicted Stalin's ideas were exiled to Sakha Republic region. They were politicians, businessmen, etc. As a matter of fact, some of these people who live in YAKUTSK right now are their grandchildren. So this place used to be land of exile. Today there is a city life going on. But we could call this life an ice hell. It pushes the limits of human nature. No matter how much we bundle up, nothing is enough to keep our bodies warm. If you have a car here, you have a big problem. Winter lasts for 6 to 7 months here. And in that time, you can never drive your car. If you insist on driving it, you can never start your vehicle's engine. For example, the car with a running engine you can see here is empty. There is nobody inside. There are hundreds of cars like this. The reason why the engine is running, if it stops, it can be completely covered with ice and the engine oil will freeze. As you can see, the owner of this vehicle must have decided not to run his or her car for a while. Just after 20 minutes of the engine being off, it is common to give up hope. Another frozen car here, waiting to be reused next summer. This car is running, right? Let's see if there's anybody inside. Yeah, nobody. Can you imagine what a huge waste of energy this actually is? Fortunately, Russia is a country that is quite rich in oil and natural gas resources. Even the exhaust smoke freezes. That's how cold it is. There are special covers for protection. Sometimes this is not enough too. People who can afford it keep their vehicles in a heated garage.
Because these vehicles are constantly running, there is a constant layer of exhaust smoke over the city. Range of visibility is often below 200 feet due to the smog.
The houses here have completely different architecture. The reason why the buildings are built on pillars is that the ground is covered with ice, and there is a possibility of ice chips.
Old houses start to lean over after a decade or so because the amount of ice either increases or decreases.
It feels like pins and needles. The worst thing that will happen is to get frostbite. Considering a refrigerator operates at about 40 degrees Fahrenheit, a freezer operates at about negative 4 degrees Fahrenheit. Since the temperature here is negative 58 degrees Fahrenheit, everywhere you can see here could function as a very high-tech freezer. That's why some people are able to store their fruits or their meat just by hanging them outside their windows. Can I make a sled out of this? I just took off my gloves for just a minute for filming. Now, it hurts terribly. My eyelashes are frozen too. I'm trying to break the ice. Move. Move.
If you would stay outside for more than 15 minutes, you would experience problems such as skin burns and difficulty in breathing. Chills that start with a needle prick-like pain, frostbite followed by sensation loss. And then it could result in death. took off her gloves for just 5 minutes to film me. Her fingers instantly turned white.
Our microphone is giving a red warning. It is not working properly. The camera is also not working as it should. Cover is frozen. Our phones don't work as well.
Her battery was about 10% a couple of minutes ago, and then it suddenly died, whereas it was actually full.
What you see behind me is a cemetery. The thickness of the ice under my shoes is about 100 foot. And this ice mass under the city does not melt even in the summer. So, how do people bury the dead? They gather pieces of coal and burn them for 2 to 3 days. Once the coal is burned, the blocks of ice thaw, and it can be easily removed using shovels.
Finally, the area can be excavated to a depth of 6 to 7 feet. The body of a person who died 100 or 200 years ago can be found very robust even today. 20% of the world's total diamond reserves are in Yakutsk. In addition to that, there are also all the elements in the periodic table. There are many mammoth and dinosaur fossils under the YAKUTIA territory. In these areas where mammoths once roamed, their intact corpses still show up as the ice melts today.
In this land where people cannot engage in agriculture or farming, people eat fish. One of the most important features of this market is that they display the fish in public stalls rather than in refrigerators. Outside is much colder than any refrigerator.
A piece of meat left outside won't spoil for months.
There are also frozen rabbits here. They are consumed a lot, including with the duck. Horse meat is also very common. It is about 45 pounds. They